Oh,
Same thing. It looks the same thing. Okay.
looks good.
Many years before the Alter Rebbe's imprisonment, I know we have 3 cameras and all of them don't work because of the computer. They're all plugged into the wrong computer. Okay. So I have to either fix the computer or whatever, but that's minor problem. Many years before the Alter Rebbe's imprisonment in Petersburg in 1798. Okay, the first Rebbe of Chabad, a lot of the Rebbes of Chabad were put into prison. They were put into prison. That's the joke that they say that a young man, he decides to become religious with Chabad. So he comes back really late one night and his mother said, "Where were you?" He says, "Oh, we're celebrating the fact that the first Rebbe of Chabad was in prison and he got out." And then a couple days later, he comes back, or next year, whatever, he comes back. His mother said, he said, "Oh, now we're celebrating the second Rebbe of Chabad. He was in prison, and then he miraculously got out." And a few days later, that's when the first Rebbe got. And then she comes back later, and he says, "No, where did you come back so late?" He says, "I'm celebrating the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. He was in prison, he got out." And his mother said, "Listen, can't you get some better friends? All the friends are all people in prison." Almost all the Rebbes in Chabad were at some time or other, or temporarily, or several times, and some of them were put into prison. The first Rebbe was, the second Rebbe was, the third Rebbe was Tzemach Tzedek. He was like arrested like hundreds of times. Third Rebbe of Chabad by the Tsar in the time of the Tsar. They were in prison. The first Rebbe of Chabad, he was in prison. He was the first one. He was in prison because of his enemies. There were other Jews that were jealous of him. In any case, he was imprisoned, and he was put in like sort of death row, even though he wasn't officially sentenced to death. And miraculously, they realized that he was not only innocent, but he was very holy, and he impressed everybody. Anyway, many years before the Alter Rebbe was put into prison in 1798, he once came out of his private room where all the Hasidim were gathered, and he said like this, he said, in heaven, all the angels and all the souls that are up there in heaven, they sense how precious this physical world is. Not only the angels do, but also the highest emanations. You learn these Kabbalistic ideas that are brought in Chassidut. It talks about these levels that are before the Tzimtzum and the Ak and the Atik Yomin, all these things. All these, they would give anything for one Yehei Shmei Rabbah said by a Jew. All these different worlds, they all have consciousness. So this highest consciousness, so it says all of the worlds would give anything just for one Jew saying Yehei Shmei Rabbah with all of his intention, naming all of his concentration. Being totally immersed and involved with these words. In other words, when a Jew's Yehei Shmei, this we have what's called Kaddish, Yitkadal Yitkadash Shmei Rabbah, right? It's also called the prayer for the dead. We say it for the dead, but it's really not the prayer for the dead. It's the prayer which the dead caused the living people to say, that we're saying God's name is infinitely great, is infinitely wonderful, infinitely amazing. And that's a Yiskad al Yiskad, may God's name be made great and holy in this world. So the angels, they're automatically loving God. For a person to shun all of the confusion of this world and to devote himself to God, even for those few words completely, says the angels would give everything for that. After this, he said the effect was that after that, the Hasidim had such a tremendous flame and enthusiasm that the Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah was totally different. Now, we're not talking about yelling and screaming the words, even though you should say it, your prayers with voice, but it means with total intention. You know what the words mean, and you connect to that meaning. Okay, this is just an emendation in the prayers. Okay, now let's do tomorrow, because it's going to be Shabbat, and we're not going to be here on Shabbat. How do I get to this? There's a place over here. 1 minute. No. Here it is. After drinking wine and eating one of the 7 fruits, the concluding blessing finishes, Ala Priya Geffen. Okay, this is also an emendation in our prayers. My grandfather wrote, why are there 2? Because there's some years there's 2 Adars. My grandfather wrote, and this year there's only 1 Adar, month of Adar, but nevertheless we read the the messages, which are the double messages from the years when there's a double month. My grandfather wrote in one of his Maimorim, it is necessary to study every day some of the Torah with Rashi, the 5 books of Moses, because this commentary, that is the elect and select of all the interpretations of the sages. At the very least, a person should learn 1 tractate of Talmud every year, bare minimum. Okay, my friends, thank you very much for coming. Have a good day with Mashiach now. On Sunday, we will meet at 8:15 my time, which means it will be, anybody who's in Israel.
Well, it will actually be still 1:15 here because we change at 2 to 3.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
At 2 a.m., we skip an hour, and it turns into 3 a.m.
Okay, so let's get this straight. Sunday, 8:15 my time is going to be what in your time, American time?
1:15, the same time.
Okay, good.
Same time.
And then we'll talk about it.
But during the shir, at an hour into the shir, we're going to jump from 2:15 to 3:15.
That's okay. Everybody just come.
So we're losing an hour of sleep basically in the spring.
You want to jump whenever you want to. The main thing is be there in class 8:15 in the morning.
We hope so. Monday morning will be harder, but I hope to make it every day next week.
We'll deal with Monday. We'll deal with the problems when the problems come. There's a saying in English and in Hebrew, "Dai letzora b'shaita." It's enough with problems when they come. You don't have to worry about them before they come.
Right.
Okay, good.
We'll
see you all on Sunday in my time, which is 1:15 your time in the morning.
Yes.
Shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Have a great Shabbos and be well. Stay well.